Oye, mi gente, you're...
Dímelo, mi gente. Welcome back to the second season of OMG Podcast. Thank you so much for sticking with us and tuning in. This is Viv Moran. I'm a multimedia artist from South Jamaica, Queens, and your favorite tia. At this moment, I would like to start us off with our daily affirmation. I want to invite you all, my beautiful gods and goddesses who tune in every week, and if this is your first time listening, welcome. I invite you to join in as well. To piggyback off the boundaries affirmation from last week, this week our affirmation is, I am the architect of my life. I build its foundation and choose its content. Which beginning?
Spirit crystals.
Okay. Now that we have charged our inner spirit crystals, I can give you the backstory to what happened during my trip to LA. Prior to traveling to LA, I was going through a really deep sadness. I was listening to the news a lot. I had also just finished watching the season finale of Orange is the New Black. The last 2 episodes got to me. The way they portrayed the detention centers and the process of deportation really fucked me up. Listening to Trump's speeches didn't make it any better. Accusing immigrants of being drug dealers and rapists, that isn't what we are. So, thus developed the idea behind these interviews. I wanted to give immigrants and first generation to tell their stories, their parents' stories. In LA, I found a couple of amazing people. Community organizers that are immigrants themselves, as well as first generation. In their stories, I found space for me too. I myself am an immigrant, the firstborn, and with an unstable status. I was brought here with my sister by my parents from Peru. We came through with a visa. My dad worked for the Peruvian government during Alan Garcia's presidency, and my mother was a journalist. It took us a bit to get our paperwork. We had to get a residency first, then after 10 years, you're supposed to apply for your citizenship or something like that. I haven't gotten around applying for my citizenship yet. But I am a permanent resident, except that my residential card expired. And while moving, I lost it along with my social security card. A lot of you guys may be wondering why I haven't ponerme las pilas to get my shit all the way together and fix my paperwork. Well, the reason is I'm scared. I'm scared of reapplying and setting some type of alarm for ICE to find me and detain me for living here without stable paperwork. I live with that stress that causes me anxiety. I worry that one day I'll hear that knock on my door and I'll be back to Peru, a country that I haven't lived in for over 27 years. As I said before, in my journey to LA in search for other creatives with different perspectives and various immigration issues, I sat and spoke with Alejandra Cortez of The Social Changer. Alejandra Cortez is an LA native. After graduating college, she moved to Chicago and volunteered for a year with the program called City Year. There, she discovered her calling to social work and uplifting communities. She came back to USC for the MSW program. During her master's program, she became involved with the Latino Social Work Caucus, USC Graduate Student Government, and serving on the Greater Cypress Park Neighborhood Council. After graduation, she started her journey as a clinical social worker, providing mental health services as a therapist. The Social Changer came about to break the negative stigma in the profession and to highlight how social workers are so diverse and impact lives on a daily basis. In this clip, we spoke of her parents' story first. Her father had already been traveling back and forth for work. Her mother traveling to the US for the first time and landing in LA. Alejandra is a first generation and only child. This is her story.
Today our guest is Alejandra Cortez from the Social Changer, and she's here to tell us about her story.
Hi, thank you for having me today.
Awesome. So tell us, who's Alejandra?
Okay, so my name is Alejandra. I'm born and raised in Los Angeles, Northeast Los Angeles, next to Dodger Stadium. And so what I do was first generation Mexican American in Los Angeles, and I do social work. That's kind of my profession. My life mission is to give back and help empower communities, and that's still kind of my motto of what I'm trying to do and align myself to.
Awesome. And, behind every first generation is an immigrant story. Would you like to share that with us?
Yeah, I think for me, it's a very multi-layered process of kind of what happened. So it didn't even start with my family. It started my dad's family that was coming over here to just work, like just sporadically. My dad was probably around in his 20s, and he would just start working over here, doing all this illegal stuff, right? Quote, quote. But for real, like using my uncle's like social security card and just like seasonally coming over to do this work. He had a support system here because my aunt got married out here, and so she was already living here, and so his older brother starting to live over here. So my dad would just kind of bounce around. Like he would share how he would work at a factory, and then ICE came and deported him. So he was like, well, I guess I'm going back home. Like, it was just like this, the way he talks about it is very like nonchalant about it. But yet again, my dad doesn't really show emotion or express how he feels. So he kind of, I think, minimizes this whole experience. And before, like, they didn't really track who got deported, like their names, things like that. So it made it easier for him to kind of keep crossing. And it wasn't until the 80s, like late 80s, where my dad decided to marry my mom. And they were childhood friends for a really long time. They grew up together. Don't tell me how, but like they were like, yeah, we're getting married. And so my dad went back to get married and brought my mom over. They crossed, my mom with the tourist visa, and my mom left her whole family. So she did, like, she left her brothers, my grandma, her family, so came over with my dad and rooted here in LA. So that's kind of how my parents came over, and 2 years later, that's when I was born.
And you're the oldest?
I'm the oldest and the youngest.
The favorite family has at least like 3 kids.
Yeah.
2 to 3 kids.
Yeah. And so I think, I always ask that, and I think because, I'm like, why? And things that way play out, but for health reasons that I didn't have other siblings. And so people would always tell me like, oh, you're so lucky. Like, you don't have to share. Like, you get everything you want, right? But then we didn't really get everything you want.
Because it's like, I feel like when it comes down to siblings, if you're an only child, sometimes I understand that it can be pretty lonely because it's just there. You by yourself, you and your thoughts, but then that's like the gift and the curse. You have your space, but then it's like, I want to tell someone my secrets.
Yeah. So that's why I was like navigating a lot of things like on my own, like, college or the American culture of things, and like not having that older sibling even tell me what to do, or like the youngest one to kind of pass on that knowledge. And I don't think I mind it. I think it was kind of like I had my cousins, but it's obviously not the same. But I think now that I'm like older, that's when I wish I had that more. I think like now that my parents are getting older, that kind of stuff, I'm like, like I have to like mentally prepare myself that this is gonna be like
your responsibility,
taking care of it. So it adds like another like layer of pressure that I didn't really like tell people, but this is like ultimately we're getting into my real fear 100%.
So as a first generation, like how was it for you having, immigrant parents and navigating
I don't think I realized it until I think growing up, it was like the norm, right? Like you'll hear those stories of like having to translate paperwork. Because even though my dad's been here probably now how old he is, like most of his life, like he never learned English, and it wasn't a thing that he was just like
important. Like,
yeah,
I'm just going to work.
yeah, and the cultural thing, like I think my mom at one point was really trying to like learn English and do things, but like not having to get that support system. Like yeah, my dad, but still not having that. I think it was really hard to kind of do that, and so it was me like trying to like translate this or things like that, or their parents were like significantly younger, like spoke English, and I was just like, oh my god, like my parents don't know how to speak English, like and I felt like, oh my god, like how is this, right? And then my mom stayed home with me until maybe I was like going into 6th grade, and then she's just started working because we needed to. And so my mom, what she did, or she still does actually, is clean houses. So we would go to like the fancy houses and out in who knows where, like mid-city, right? And she would take me with her, but to like do these negotiations, right? Like, hi, my mom can't go to work today, or how much is the pay, or things like that. And yeah, that's where I was during the summer, like going with my mom.
Being her liaison.
Being the liaison, like taking the 2 or 3 buses to get to these like beautiful homes, and then being the liaison, and then having to like clean the house, like do laundry, like do all this kind of stuff. So that was kind of me growing up. And my dad, like, factory worker, like, in and out of work. Like, he worked, like, my dad's, like, a very hard worker. And so, like, he's the one that, like, since I can remember, has been waking up at, like, 4:30 in the morning. Like, he's not the one that's struggle, right? Like me, like, I'll snooze, my dad, like, first alarm, and he's like, I never want to be late to work, like, this kind of stuff. And so,
Do you think that can also cause a little bit of trauma in a way?
I think so, and I think, like, I hide it very well. And I think, especially because, like, I don't think it's been easier. I think more so for my mom than my dad. Because my dad never had his family here. And so I think it was traumatic. Now that I think about some situations where some owners were, like, or not owners, but our bosses were, like, abusive. Like, you think about it now, right? Like, getting paid probably not the appropriate thing, and then like having her do a bajillion things that I'm like, yeah, like what you're paying is probably not the correct price point, right? But not being able to like advocate for that, and then experiencing like a lot of grief and loss from my mom's side of the family, and her being away, and it's like a generational trauma, right? Like me feeling like, okay, continuing and doing what I'm working, and maybe not financially being able to be like, I'm gonna buy a house or a car. And so yeah, so now I'm getting on. It's okay. What I'm processing.
So here's where the interview gets a bit emotional. We discuss how taking all the responsibility makes us feel, while at the same time holding space for our parents to be parents. You know, I related so much with this in this area because I too had to do that. You know, being the oldest, learning English first, I was the one to have to translate everything. From official court papers from Willens and Baker when we had filed for a residency, parent-teacher conferences, you know, bills. You know, I had to break things down for them. And I had to try to also find, you know, the best words in Spanish to translate these big ass words that I still didn't know the definition of. So, you know, like with that, it was really, really, you know, hard for me. I didn't have time to be a child. I had to be an extra parent. And also hold that responsibility of being the parent, all while still holding space for my parents to be parents and making sure that they don't feel less than because they have their 10-year-old daughter translating things to them.
I'm supposed to be helping you guys out, not you trying to help me. Like, financially, I did divide, like, stuff, and I'm not, like, super struggling, but it's the sense of, like, I had to let go of that I'm not failing them. This is just, like, a break so I can continue providing for them.
Yeah, like, I get where you're coming from. You know, I'm not first generation because I'm also an immigrant, and so is my little sister, but she's more American than me because she was here from like 6 months.
Yeah.
And so she really doesn't know anything but the US.
Yeah.
But I feel like we never really get to have had that childhood that we were supposed to have because we grow up super fast and become responsible for things that for other people it's like, oh, you know, that's nothing, you're just helping your parents. And it's like, no, you're there learning these really big words and then you're just trying to find the right way to convey to your parents without also not making them feel stupid for leaning on their child to do this for them, which is another pressure. The other pressure being the only kid or the first child, you gotta help your parents because, you know, they don't know English. Translating, being a good daughter and doing the right thing at all times, even though all you want to do is just be a child, and then taking on the pressure of letting them know that you are good parents and you're not stupid even though you're leaning on them to do all these things, you know?
It's rough. And I think we just, like, kind of normalize it, right? Because, like, growing up, like, a lot of your classes are probably on the same kind of flow or kind of journey, but it was never something I really, like, talked about. Like, even what my mom did, like, it was just, like, normal, or normal, or things like that. And it wasn't until I'm like, no, like, my parents are working their ass off, like, I'm going to talk about their story. And thanks to them, like, I have this, like, privilege of, like, yes, I did this, but they tried their best to provide what they could. And now, like, the fact that I can do whatever I want in my life, right, career-wise, that's the privilege, like, the sacrifice that they did for us. And it wasn't until my old therapist was like, you need to, like, not feel guilty for their choices as an adult, right? Like, coming over that kind of stuff so that I could try to take off at least a little bit of the pressure so I can continue, like, functioning as a parent. So as a therapist, like, I would hear a lot of this, right? Like, either first gen or immigrants, like, their parents having these, like, similar struggles. So we would just, like, bounce back off of this, like, an energy or understanding, like, it's a real pressure and it's a real struggle that we sometimes feel. And I think that's also instilled from my parents. Like, it can be very minimal. Like, my mom's so proud of this. Like, whatever she makes, like, oh, I've been donating to St. Jude for, like, this amount, right? Like, it was always, like, trying to help the less fortunate. And in her family, the same thing. Like, we were trying to help, even though we may not have enough. Like, oh, let's give this or things like that. And so, growing up, I was very lucky because I did have, like, my two parents, like, a solid home, which was able to provide me to go to school, right? I did go to public school, and coming out, like, I went to a school that's, so Los Angeles has, like, magnet schools, and those magnet schools, kids get busted, and so they're known as, like, better school. And the girl was like, I want to be a doctor. I was like, okay, like, I want to be a doctor. And I remember, like, I just know I want to give back, like, be a doctor and then come back and help, like, in my community. And then I hated bio. I hated biology. I was like, I hate this. Like, this is horrible. And I failed. And I was like, what am I doing with my life? But I just knew, like, as long as I'm kind of giving back. And so I took, like, it was like a gang intervention class. So my community is a lot of gangs and activity, and So the professor would bring different speakers to the class. So,
gang members?
Yeah, ex-gang members, cops, politicians. I don't even think he spoke most of the class. And one day he brought a cop, and he was talking about gang-infested areas in LA, and so at the university I went to, USC, it's very white, and so I'm sitting there and I'm like, okay, this is okay. And so he talks about it and said, you guys have probably not heard of this community, but it's called Cypress Park. And I was just slowly raising my hand, hey, I'm actually from it.
This is where the interview ends. As I explained in the previous interview, our footage was lost among the things that were stolen, and this is what we could salvage. Alejandra mentions a conversation that she was having in class about Cypress Park, her neighborhood. Cypress Park is a densely populated 82.1% Latinx neighborhood of 10,000 plus residents in North LA. About 10 years ago or so, Cypress Park was one of LA's most dangerous neighborhoods. Locally, it was infamous for its rival street gangs. These days, however, outsiders are noticing that Cypress Park sits on prime geographical location, equal distance between downtown, Highland Park, and Silver Lake. So you know what that means: gentrification. What is inspiring of Alejandra's story is how she was able to take her experiences growing up as first-generation child of immigrants and turn it into something beautiful to give back to her community. All right, y'all. It's time for that one piece. Not to be confused with that wildly popular anime that we all know and love. This is that one piece of advice that you would give to a younger you. I wasn't able to recover the recording of Alejandra's answer, so I will answer this question myself. What is that one piece of advice you would give to a younger you? I would have to say, speak up for yourself. Defend your beliefs. Trust you and your intuition. It's not your fault that your parents separated. Don't carry that burden. Believe that you are enough. Believe that you will find someone who appreciates you and loves everything that is you. And you'll meet up at Max Brenner for hot chocolate. Have a 6-hour conversation. You'll fall in love, and she'll inspire you to keep creating and start a podcast. So boom. At this time, I like to highlight some dope people who are doing amazing work in our communities. Let's give a big yer to my spiritual homie, Rebecca Gitana Torres. Yer. Rebecca Gitana Torres is a transformational guide who has combined mindful interior design with a variety of healing modalities to help her clients and viewers find harmony and healing through the home. In fact, for the last 10 years, she has studied human behavior within the home and how environment both affects and reflects our state of being. Rebecca is also a curandera, a spiritual counselor who is known as Gaia in this realm. Here, she provides a safe space for those who are looking to deepen their personal healing practices. Sessions with Gaia include energetic works and incorporate modalities such as talk and touch therapy, crystal healing, toning, breath work, sound, smoke, and more. Publicly, she is also known as a media personality and artist. A highlight within this journey has been the success of her self-produced show entitled Lifestyle Remix TV. Rebecca is proudly of Puerto Rican descent and is strongly connected to her island and the preservation of her indigenous and diverse culture. She is also a servant of Mother Earth and is currently focused on developing projects to protect our waterways and nature as a whole. Expect lots more from Rebecca and healing through the home, including new television shows as well as upcoming live events. You can find Rebecca on IG at Rebecca Gitana and check out her website, healingthroughthehome.com. Okay, guys, we have reached the end of this episode. But before I bid you all adieu, I want to pose a question to you all, mi gente. This week, I want to ask, Oye, mi gente, what does love look like to you? Piénsalo. Feel free to leave your insight and answers in the comments and review sections, please. I want to know. Alright, guys, that's it for this week's episode. Remember to follow us at OMG Podcast on IG. We're available on all your favorite streaming platforms. And be sure to subscribe. Leave us a comment in the review section below. Also follow at Deacon Media on IG. And if you want to know more about the Deacon Network and what we do, you can check us out and the entire Deacon Media fam on deaconmedia.com.